Hey folks, this is Kalani. Going to be looking at another champion farming route, this time down in the Cursed Shore in Ore. So, this farming route will start up at Care Shadowfane, so you want to pay attention to that waypoint, especially if a commander is nearby. Now, this includes going over the entirety of Cursed Shore. So, what happens is that we start at Care Shadowfane, and we run over here for a champion Archmage, then we port down to Shelter's Gate waypoint and run down to this skill point for a champion Baron or Baroness, port over to Meddler's waypoint, run up into the field to kill a Risen Giant, then we run, or rather swim, out into the ocean to kill a champion Risen Scorpion. From there you go right down to the bottom to Shipwreck Rock and you kill the good old champion Shark. Now, a few things can interrupt with this, but we'll just go for the cycle first. So, Care Shadowfane, Archmage, port down, Shelter's Gate, need to stop shift clicking that, down to Shelter's Gate, down to Baroness or Baron, across to Meddler's Risen Giant, into the water for the Risen Scorpion, right down to Shipwreck for the Risen Shark. Now, I did mention things can interrupt this, so the main one is an escort event from Meddler's. Now, from Meddler's waypoint, there'll be an escort event down to Anchorage waypoint. Depending on your commander, he'll either send a specific group of people, which is usually 5 to 10 people, to do the escort, or they'll take the Zerg there. If you only take a few people to the escort event, it's guaranteed, and then you'll get the defense event at Anchorage. If you take the Zerg, the entire escort event will be filled with champions, so obviously more loot, but also higher chance to fail. And basically, a lot of people want this. This is the main farm right now of Cursed Shore, especially if Joe Fast is bugged, so that's not really included right now. But Anchorage waypoint will spawn lots and lots of champion embers. Now, people actually let that event fail, because essentially if you let it fail, it'll come back very quickly. If you complete it, it won't be available for another 3 hours, and therefore it's actually less champions. I kind of don't like that, but hey, that's what people are doing. Now, the other two are Pentient Waypoint and Shelter's Gate. These will become under attack, and there'll be defense missions. Now, obviously, they'll have plenty of champions coming in for them, so people usually go for those as well. Depending on your commander, you'll either go straight back to a normal route, so come back up to Care, or you'll go for whatever was next. So, for example, if you've just done the Baron and Shelters comes up, one commander might take you back to Care, which would be a bit daft because that's a bit too soon. But usually you'd continue, so then you'd go on to Meddlers and go for the Risen Giant. Now, I've just missed the Archmage, and I'm going to miss the Baron, but we'll go down anyway. The main problem with this farm is that there's a lot of loading screens because you're waypointing a lot. So, if basically if you can't get there quick enough, then you can either hope that they're very nice and they'll wait for the majority of people to get there to start, which I'll be honest is not very often, or you simply have to go somewhere else. Cursed Shore doesn't really work if you're not getting the champion hits, so go over to Meddlers. Now I'll run this for a full cycle, so I'll run this until we come back to Meddlers for the Giant again, just so you can see all the champions involved, and hopefully we won't get any interruptions. So, out of the gate. Now, you may want to group up for this, as it seems to increase the chances of you getting a tap or a tag onto the champions. Looks like we're a little bit early. You might get a little bit of downtime with some of these champions, but usually it's not a great deal. There we go. from here, we'll go straight towards the sea.
Reap the whirlwind.
Unless something's come up. Commander seems to have disappeared, but I'll show you the Risen Scorpion nevertheless. If you're not entirely sure where you're going, it's obviously best to follow the group for the first few times. Now we can see the champion Risen Sea Scorpion. This one tends to go down really quickly, so you'll need to get here fast, or obviously if your Zerg's waiting, it's not too bad. Now what's curious is this actually drops a different type. This drops a Fallen Adventurous Backpack, so you've got a few types to work with. Now we head straight down into Shark at Shipwreck Rock Waypoint, again with the loading screens. Now, the main thing that throws all of this out of whack is if another group is doing it at a different kind of intervals, and especially with things like Archmage and Baron, the first two, where they go down really quickly and don't really have a lot of health, which can be a bit of a problem. It means that basically a group of 5 can very easily take it down. Annoyingly, some of the Zergs have actually had kind of a troll group, I guess. You can't really give it a better name. Where basically they'd actively disrupt the cycle. So if they knew that Baron was the next choice, they'd get there first, kill it, and then laugh at everybody, which is annoying to say the least. But hey, you can't really stop them. And it becomes to be really frustrating sometimes if you're trying to do this cycle and it goes all out of whack because a small group of people decide just to ruin it for everybody. Although the commander seems to have disappeared. You can see the escort event has actually started for meddlers to Anchorage, so that might draw a few folk away. Okay, so this doesn't seem to be coming up. That might have messed up the cycle somewhere, but usually this is really good for it. So we'll go up to Care, and I'll show you the Archmage, even if the Zerg doesn't follow. It means I can show you the champion, where it is, basically how you're going to get to it, and then I'll move on. The commander's actually up here at Archmage.
Feel the fury.
This is probably going to either be dead or go down very quickly.
Refreshing.
Or not here. I feel like some people are really messing with this on Gandara. We've had this quite a lot recently, which is kind of annoying, but this is where you'd fight the Archmage. And I'll just quickly show down for Baron. The other point is that there seems to be quite a lot of accusations for bots. Now, if there are a lot of bots here and they're running the same route, they obviously might not run it in sync with everyone if an event comes up and disrupts it, which is not ideal, to say the least. We can see the barons up there, the champion, risen baron or baroness. And after this one goes down, you'd go back to meddlers to obviously to sort out with the giant, then to scorpion, down to shark, and back up, way up to the top for archmage. Now, we may as well go down and see how the escort is doing, and I can show you that. A lot of people do like to do the escort with only a few people to guarantee the anchorage event. It's a 10-minute defense event with champions spawning a great deal. To the point where in those 10 minutes you could probably get between 20 and 40 champion bags, depending on how many of you there are, obviously. It looks like the event failed already. The main problem is that because there's so many champions, essentially you can't let every one of the NPCs die. If every single NPC goes down in this escort event, then it fails. But I'm sure you'll get to see the anchorage event and these defense events on your own. Just the key thing to this path is having a commander who knows what they're doing and can think on their feet. If you don't have that, then it can be a little bit awkward. I know it's been really good on Gandara, obviously over on Europe for the past 2 days, but we've had a bit of trouble with people obviously making a small group and going to intercept the next target, so we either end up waiting for a while or everyone just misses out on loot, which is really awkward because it's supposed to be an efficient farming method. But obviously if people are messing about with it, you can't really do much about it. But I don't know, Vabby's another good one. I know my guild used to go across there to Vabby, and Desolation seems to be another interesting one. But yeah, that's just a little bit of choice for your champion. Down in ore and back to Cursed Shore. It's not a bad one. It's definitely not bad. It does net you quite a few boxes. I'll probably be opening these very soon and hope for some shinies. Remember that apparently both hammers can drop from these boxes. I'm not entirely sure about Genesis. I've never seen Genesis dropped before, but I definitely know Entropy can drop from these boxes. So if you fancy yourself that hammer, this is probably the best way to go about it if you don't want to drop a lot of gold on the trading post. So that's it for now. Good luck with your farming. Thanks for watching, folks, and as always, I will see you next time.